Holy cow.
Holy cow, everyone. We have a black snake on our tree.
Not the ground.
He's probably 4 or 5 foot long. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're kicking off a new series where we're going to build a deck and some stairs down to the lake. Let's get started. The first part of this project is going to be getting the foundation in place. And due to the nature of the terrain and some of the restrictions with the lake, we're going to have to dig the foundations by hand. This first part, we're going to start with building a small deck about halfway up this hill. And from there, the staircase will go down to the dock and up to a small access road that we have. It's a little hard to see here with the flags, but this is where the deck is going to go. So the idea is to have 4 posts holding it up on each side. And we'll get into some of the details of this as we go along. And you can see it's pretty steep up there. We definitely need some stairs so that we can get down to our boat. The first thing we did to get started is we put these stakes in the ground. We put one up here at the top, and we put one way down there by the dock, and we ran a straight line through it so that we can see where the stairs are going to run and get a line to work off for our stairs. That's the direction we want our stairs to go. So now that we have that, we can run lines off of it in order to get our position for our deck. So we took a few minutes to get our deck laid out. It's going to be about 6 feet in width and 11.5 feet long. We used the corner to corner method. So we measured corner to corner and we came up, I think, with about 154, 155 inches. But I want to show you another method because we don't actually have framing square. We don't have any kind of square out here to make sure that this is actually 90-degree angles and that our deck is positioned correctly. So I'm going to use the 3, 4, 5 method and show you how to do that so that you can make sure that all your corners are square. As you can see, we're out here. We're doing this very primitively. We don't have any power electricity down here. I don't even have a square to make sure that this is all square and where we want it. But there is a method that you can use, even if you don't have a square, to make sure that all your corners are nice and square and everything's aligned. So we already checked diagonal from corner to corner and we're good there. But just to make sure that we have a right angle here, you can use a method called the 3, 4, 5 method. And basically it's pretty simple geometry. You measure 4 feet down one row and 3 feet up the other, and you put a mark on your string, and I've already done that here. And when you go from your 3 foot mark on one line and your 4 foot mark on the other, it should be 5 feet. And so when I measure that, we're right at 5 foot. So I know that this corner is now square and it's where I want it to be. So 3, 4, and 5. So as we go through this, I do want to point out, I am not a professional deck builder. I don't do this for a living. I am a DIYer. I do this, in my spare time. I've done some projects in the past. I've done a little research. If you have comments on this project of how I can do things better, please leave them in the comments below. I really like to learn. The real point of this channel is to inspire people like you to get out there and do something, that you don't have to be a professional. You don't need the best tools. As you can see, we're out here in the middle of the woods by a lake. I don't even have a power cord, water hose, anything. I'm using very simple tools, very simple techniques. I don't have some fancy laser level or anything like that. I don't even have a fancy plan of what I'm gonna do. I actually have a plan here, and I'll put a shot up on the screen of something that I drew with a ruler on a blank piece of paper with a purple ballpoint pen. I just want to inspire you to get out there and try things on your own. So another tip that I have for you here is, I know that I want my pier to be in from the edge of each deck about 12 inches. So I put a mark there, and I want it to be about 16 inches away from this edge. And so what I did is I took a measurement from there to there to get my cross measurement, which is 20 inches. So I took a tape measure from my post out to 20 inches, and wherever it hit on that arc, I know that's where I want the center of my pier to be, and that's where I'll dig. So we got about 2.5 holes dug here. The goal is to get them deep enough so that this doesn't one day go sliding down the mountain. Where we're at, the frost line is only about 18 inches deep. You'll want to check in your area to see how deep you want to go with your footers. I'm trying to get maybe 24 inches deep at least, below that frost line, and a little bit deeper because we're building on a slope here. Again, I don't want this sliding down the mountain one day, so keep on digging. Well, there's no way to sugarcoat it. That was a lot of hard work. Been out here for quite a while digging holes, and all our holes are at least 24 inches deep or more. So the idea is that the holes on the top are actually going to carry the beam directly on the concrete pier. And since we're working on a slope, these holes in the front here that you see will actually have a 6x6 that they support to make this deck level. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the Sonotube cut down to length, all leveled out, and get our concrete ready to pour for these footers. So the next thing I'm trying to do is figure out where is my level point between these two holes. Because again, this is going to carry a beam pretty much directly on top of this concrete pier. I've got some pour in place Simpson ties that I'll put into the concrete. So what I'm going to do is just screw a board this and try to get it level all the way across. So I have a reference so I can measure to the bottom of the hole there and figure out where my Sonotube needs to go. And for this, I'm just using my cordless DeWalt drill. I am in the middle of nowhere. I don't have any plugs or anything. I've always been a big fan of DeWalt. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but for the way that these tools work and the durability of them, I mean, I don't think you can beat them for the price. So I'll leave a link in the description to some of the DeWalt tools that I use during this video, but you can see I'm hard on my tools. They've always come through for me. Next, I'm going to cut the Sonotube to length. What I did is I took 3 marks around there at 11 inches, the length I need. I put a string around it, make sure it's nice and straight. I'm just going to take a Sharpie, run it along the string, get a halfway decent straight line to follow all the way around. I'm going to move my string down so I can use it for the next one. I'm going to take the circular saw and just cut all the way around to length. We're ready to start pouring our concrete. What we did is we got our Sonos tubes up to the top of this straight board here. We want these two to be level, and we're just going to fill them up to the top of these Sonos tubes with concrete. We put a little bit of bracing on there to hold them straight and level and make sure that they don't move. And now we're just taking the concrete and we're putting it in there. We'll level it all out and then we'll put our brackets in. We got our piers poured and they're in place. I put a string line over the top of them right where I want these brackets to go. So these I'm just going to sink down into the concrete, and then when we build our deck, the 6x6 post will sit on top of this and get us level to the ground grade back there for the beam that'll sit in that one back there.